Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some of the craziest addictions you won't believe exist. We're talking about stuff way more out there than your typical phone scrolling or junk food cravings. I'm talking about people addicted to eating furniture, folks obsessed with getting surgeries, and even some who can't stop collecting creepy crawlies. Make sure to stick around till the end because you won't want to miss number one. It's seriously wild. Alright guys, buckle up because this first one is seriously strange. We're talking about people who are addicted to eating couch cushions. I know it sounds absolutely insane, but it's a real thing. Imagine having this uncontrollable urge to take a bite out of your sofa. Apparently for some people the texture or even the taste is weirdly satisfying. Now, you don't need me to tell you this is seriously bad for you. We're talking choking hazards, fabric getting lodged in your intestines, the chemicals used to treat the fabrics. It's a recipe for disaster. Doctors have actually found huge clumps of this stuff, blocking people's digestive systems. It's wild. I tried to find footage of someone actually eating a couch cushion for this video, but honestly, it was too disturbing. What I do have are some x-rays showing the damage this addiction can cause. Look at this one. You can see a massive lump of undigested fabric in this person's stomach. Okay, get this. Some people have an unquenchable thirst for blood. We're not talking about your average Halloween vampire costume party here. This is a real-life condition called Renfield syndrome, and it's seriously intense. People with this condition have an overwhelming compulsion to drink blood, often their own or from willing donors. They say it gives them a feeling of euphoria, or even a rush of energy. But as you can imagine, it's incredibly dangerous. Blood-borne diseases, iron overload, even psychological issues are all linked to this addiction. It's not something to be romanticized, that's for sure. It's fascinating and terrifying at the same time. This one's definitely not for the faint of heart, but it shows just how diverse and complex human behavior can be. We all know someone who loves to catch a tan, right? But what happens when that desire for a golden glow turns into a full-blown addiction? That's what we're talking about in this chapter. Tanorexia. These folks crave the feeling of the sun on their skin, or the artificial rays of a tanning bed, to the point where it becomes an obsession. They might spend hours baking themselves, ignoring the warnings from doctors and the damage it's doing to their skin. The health risks are serious, guys. We're talking premature aging, wrinkles, age spots, and worst of all, skin cancer. It's scary stuff, but for someone with this addiction, the desire for that bronzed look outweighs the risks. They talk about how they can't stop tanning, even though they know it's bad for them. They're trapped in this cycle of addiction, and it's affecting their lives in a major way. It's a reminder that addiction can take many forms, and it's not always about substances. Okay, this next one is not for the squeamish. I'm talking about people who are addicted to eating glass. Yes, you heard me right. Shards of broken glass, light bulbs, you name it. They crave it. It's called hyaline craving, and it's a type of pica, which is a disorder that involves eating things that aren't food. It's often linked to nutritional deficiencies or underlying mental health conditions. But imagine the damage that eating glass can do to your insides. We're talking cuts, internal bleeding, infections. We found some stories of people who have survived this addiction, and they talked about how they used to hide their glass eating from their families, sneaking bites here and there. They said the crunch was satisfying, but the guilt and the pain afterwards were unbearable. We all love a good shopping spree, but for some people that urge to buy becomes an uncontrollable addiction. It's called oniomania, or compulsive shopping disorder, and it can be just as destructive as any other addiction. Imagine the feeling of getting a great deal, that rush of excitement when you buy something new. For someone with a shopping addiction, that feeling becomes the ultimate goal. They'll buy things they don't need, can't afford, and sometimes even forget they bought because the act of buying is what they're truly after. The consequences can be devastating. We're talking mountains of debt, strained relationships, and even job loss. It's a vicious cycle that can be incredibly difficult to break. Therapy, support groups, and even apps can help people regain control of their spending and their lives. We all know exercise is good for us, right? But what happens when that healthy habit turns into an unhealthy obsession? That's what we're talking about in this chapter. Exercise addiction. For some people, that feeling of getting stronger, faster, fitter becomes an all-consuming drive. They push their bodies to the limit and beyond, ignoring pain, fatigue, and even injuries. They might work out multiple times a day, feel anxious if they miss a session, and prioritize exercise over everything else in their lives. Now, you might be thinking, how can exercise be bad? But imagine the strain this puts on your body. We're talking about stress fractures, muscle tears, heart problems, and even hormonal imbalances. It can seriously mess you up. Remember guys, balance is key. Exercise is awesome, but listen to your body, take rest days, and don't let it take over your life. In a world obsessed with image, it's no surprise that some people become addicted to changing their appearance. We're talking about plastic surgery addiction, also known as body dysmorphic disorder, and it's a serious issue. Imagine looking in the mirror and constantly seeing flaws, things you want to change. For someone with body dysmorphic disorder, those perceived flaws become an obsession. They might undergo multiple surgeries, procedure after procedure, never feeling truly satisfied with the results. What's even crazier is that many times these people are already considered attractive by societal standards, but no matter how many times they go under the knife, they can't escape that feeling that something's not quite right. The sad truth is that surgery can't fix those underlying issues. In fact, it can often make them worse. This next addiction is one that many people suffer from in silence: trichotillomania. It's a condition that involves an irresistible urge to pull out your own hair, whether it's from your scalp, eyebrows, eyelashes, or anywhere else on your body. Imagine feeling this overwhelming tension, this urge to pull that you can't resist. You might not even realize you're doing it until you see clumps of hair in your hands. It can be incredibly isolating and embarrassing. People with trichotillomania often feel ashamed of their condition, so they might try to hide it from others. They might wear hats, wigs, or makeup to cover up the bald spots. But the urge to pull is always there, lurking beneath the surface. This next one might make your stomach churn. We're talking about people who are addicted to eating dirt. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a real condition called geophagia. Now, before you think we're completely off our rockers, there are actually some cultures where eating dirt is considered normal, often for spiritual or medicinal purposes. But for people with geophagia, it's a compulsion, an uncontrollable urge to consume soil, clay, or even chalk. Doctors think it might be linked to mineral deficiencies, especially iron deficiency, as the body tries to get those nutrients from somewhere. But it can also be a sign of mental health conditions like OCD or anxiety. The problem is, eating dirt is super dangerous. We're talking parasites, bacteria, heavy metals, all sorts of nasty stuff that can make you really sick. Alright, last but not least, we're diving into the fascinating, and some might say creepy, world of insect collecting. Now, for most of us, finding a bug in our house is a reason to scream and run for the hills, but for these folks, insects are like precious treasures. They spend hours, days, even years searching for rare and exotic species to add to their collections. We're talking meticulously pinned butterflies, beetles with shimmering exoskeletons, and even giant stick insects that look like they're straight out of a horror movie. And these aren't just your average hobbyists. Some of these collectors travel the world, braving jungles, deserts, and caves to find the rarest of the rare. They dedicate their lives to understanding and preserving these often overlooked creatures. It was like walking into a natural history museum. Now, while collecting insects might not seem as immediately harmful as some of the other addictions on this list, it can definitely become all-consuming. Some collectors will go to extreme lengths, spending exorbitant amounts of money or even engaging in illegal activities to acquire new specimens. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Comment below which addiction you found the craziest. I'm still tripping out about the couch cushion thing, man. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and don't go eating any furniture.